Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to another episode of the Unapologetic Entrepreneur, ladies and gentlemen. And today I am blessed. Before I even start with that, happy Valentine's Day to all you lovers out there. Happy Valentine's Day. I'm wearing my red today, still representing. And I want to I am blessed today by Miss Cordie Moore. I know her for quite a while, and in the time that I've met her since I'm looking back now 7-8 years, because I was the boot camp. It was 8 years ago I met Miss Cordie Moore in one of our past ventures. And, after that, we've worked together and we've lost touch and come back together. It's always a wonderful thing when you could pick up with somebody where you left off and it never affects the relationship. So on today's episode, I have a strong woman that's all about entrepreneurship. All I know about her is entrepreneurship. I don't even know what she did before this. So I'm gonna turn it over to her first so she can introduce herself and tell you about a little bit about herself before we get into, some questions. And for all the viewers out there, I hope you got your questions ready as well. So Ms. Cordie Moore, please tell the viewers who you are, where you come from. I mean, I know you, they don't.
Absolutely, Leo. Thank you. I truly appreciate you for bringing me on today. It's so funny. You're right. You probably don't know me, right, before we actually met, but just so you can get a good understanding of who I am. Listen, I am just super excited to be here because I never ever thought that, honestly, I would be an entrepreneur. Long time ago, when I was 21, my ex went into the NFL. And so for approximately about 10 years, we lived off about $40 million. So life was great, right? I thought I was going to just ride off into the sunset. But guess what? I found myself a single mom, 2 children, got myself back together. I actually went into corporate America in the financial services arena. I was there for a while, but next thing you know, guys, guess what? I got into real estate, right? That's what started my entrepreneurship journey. And it's been going on from there ever since late 2006. I actually went full-time entrepreneur February 20th of 2007. Currently today, I hold a license in the real estate arena. I hold several different licenses in the insurance arena. I'm also a funding broker. So I absolutely love what I do. And once again, Leo, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for all that. We're going to unpack a little bit about that, because I'm going to tell you, when I met you, I heard the whole thing. I didn't know the whole story about NFL. I heard you were married to a man in the NFL. They didn't even tell me the name. I wasn't one of those people that digged into people's businesses. I mean, I was one of the trainers there at that point. So I wasn't going to, go into all that. But people saw me talking to you and some other people, and I heard whispers of it. But there is a part about the show that we talk about a lot about entrepreneurship, and you just I want you to unpack one thing. So you were married to an NFL player where you were living on $40 million a year.
40 million over that span of 10 years.
over the span of 10 years, and then all gone.
Hey, I was back, a single lady trying to figure life out. And I tell everybody, if you've ever lived in the shadows of someone that's rich and famous, a lot of times you just tend to lose you. You tend to lose who you are. So it was really, it was a fight for me, right? Because I was thinking that life was going to be great. And I didn't have to get into entrepreneurship. I didn't have to get a job. I didn't have to do any of that. But yeah, but listen, I will tell you this though. Leo is so amazing. What I realized today is that my life was designed on purpose, and I'm super, super excited about it. I am so thankful, right, for what did happen, because I've been able to impact so many families across this country as an entrepreneur. And so what I realize now is truly that was my journey. It was going to happen like that, whether I wanted it to or not.
So, wow, that's amazing, because a lot of people here that get into entrepreneurship end up getting there and feel like they lost it all because they're used to that salary. They're living on that I know what's going to happen on Friday. I'm going to get paid. And sometimes the bills take over. And, but you got that consistency. So you had this consistency, and then it just went away after 10 years, a whole decade, guys, a whole decade. That, to me, I'm still like wrapping my mind around that. And I believe that before entrepreneurship, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe you worked in a bank.
I did.
So what was your 9 to 5? Tell us about that, because you go from this. Now, is this in the same city where you were married and everything?
Actually, no, I was in Florida, and I got a job out of spite, right? Because one thing I understood is that he who controls the money controls your destination. And so I did. I got into corporate America. I went into banking. I absolutely loved my career in banking, but I was actually asked to move to Charlotte to go into investment banking. However, on my journey to Charlotte, though, I was to ask Cordie, can you stop in Atlanta? We're going to have you there probably for about 6 months. We wanted you to help with a merger, right? Because at the time the bank was doing an acquisition with another bank. And so I said, sure. However, though, once I got here, I found myself introduced into the world of real estate. And Leo, this was at a time, of course, when real estate was booming, right? This was 2006, right before the 2008, crash of the market. So real estate was booming, and I found myself on that journey. And I knew right then, you know what, I had to be a part of it, because I remember what life was like when money was not an issue, right? And I know for a fact, guess what? If I had the opportunity to get my time and to get my freedom back and to make the money along the way, guess what? I knew that I was going to make it happen. So that's why I'm so thankful for the journey. Because it was going to happen anyway, and I'm just thankful for it. Right. Now, I had my ups and downs, though. We're
going to get to that. Don't give it all away yet. We're going to get to that. we're at the beginning. We're going from 9 to 5 into entrepreneurship. I'm not going to let you skip to that. Not just yet. So there's one thing that you also said at the beginning of your introduction is that, and that was going to be one of my questions, is did you envision yourself as an entrepreneur, or did your journey unfold unexpectedly? Because last week I came on to, I started this podcast, and one of the things that I talked when I spoke about myself was I said that I didn't choose entrepreneurship, it chose me. And because I used to be a principal and I ended up here. So who knew? I never thought of that. So I'm curious to ask you, did you choose entrepreneurship or did it choose you? Because I'm looking at you right now. I'm looking at it piece by piece. Because like you said, I don't know you before that boot camp. So I'm looking at, okay, she went from, hey, I'm in love, I made it, just buy whatever you need, don't worry about it, to, oh my God, where am I living? It's a whole different lifestyle, to now working in spite in a bank. Okay, you're working in spite. And now, now we're going towards that direction. Like, did you end up saying, I can't do this 9 to 5? Like, how did you end up an entrepreneur or in
No,
real estate? I should say. It's just,
yeah, you know what? No, actually, I loved what I did. I was in sales, right? So I was not stuck in a office. I was out and about, and so absolutely loved what I did. I was just asked one afternoon. Well, actually, you know what? Let me go back. My sister, she called me and she said, Cordie, there's a meeting that's going to take place in Atlanta this week, and I want you to come. And I was like, well, I'm really not interested. I had already heard about Atlanta and everything comes through Atlanta, Georgia, all that good stuff. So I was like, I'm really not interested. And she was like, please, can you just go with me? And you know what, Leo, I went to that meeting and I was sitting there. And as I was sitting there, it's like I could literally see myself putting my life back together, hearing what they were doing. Right. And so I was like, man, I wonder if I can really do this. I was a little nervous. I will be honest with you, because once again, you're talking about, okay, Cordie, would you really leave the bank? And so I said, you know what? I'll try it and I'll just do it part-time just to see. So honestly, yeah, you are so right. Entrepreneurship definitely chose me. That was not my desire to leave my job. I was headed to Charlotte to investment banking. So yeah, it definitely chose me.
So I'm gonna ask you now. We're gonna get into the gap, right?
Okay.
Because that was real estate, and you went from real estate into insurance, correct?
Correct.
All right. So
Yep.
I know I met you in one of the ventures of insurance. Is that the first time you started insurance when I met you, or before that?
Oh, it was before that. Yep.
Oh
Um,
wow.
yep. So what happened? Of course, I had a successful run in real estate, all the way up until mid 2008, late 2008, to the market just totally bottomed out. My mentor, he was like, Cordie, we're gonna have to make some adjustments. And I'm like, adjustments like what? And he comes from the insurance world. And when he started telling me about insurance, Leo, I literally just closed my ears because I'm like, hold on, wait. I didn't quit my job to become an insurance agent, right? Nothing about that was sexy. Nothing about that even sounded fun. And so, I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. And honestly, Leo,
Wait. And that was insurance with door knocking, because now it's different. That's why you said it wasn't sexy. We were door knocking.
oh my gosh, nothing sounded sexy. And honestly, I sat for a minute and I lived out of my savings for a while, because I was just so stuck on, guess what? The market is going to come back. And it never did. And so then, of course, that's when I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I better pick this insurance thing up, because, I got used to having my time, my freedom, my flexibility. At that point, I've had about 2 years to learn how to really create my own life. And so I was just like, you know what? I'm going to have to do something. And that's how I got into insurance.
That was the next journey. Oh, okay. So that's how we got into insurance. So basically, what happened to a lot of real estate people? A lot of people from real estate end up in insurance, from what I've gathered, or people that have worked in our organization, because once you sell a property, that's it. You got to
Yep.
you only have that money until the next property.
Yep.
And insurance, you got residual. And
Yep.
then also with the market, once it went down once, that doesn't mean it won't go down again. And it still hasn't recovered from when it came down. So, insurance is consistent.
Yeah.
Everybody needs what we do, but one of the many income streams you have. So let me ask you, what are one of the biggest obstacles that you have faced during your entrepreneurship, and how did you overcome it? Like, give us one, two, something, because I know in every episode that you've gone through, there's been many, there's a lot of gaps. There's a lot of dips that we get into. It's not consistent. That's the risk of entrepreneurship, but the reward is much worth it.
It is. Well, of course, that was a huge adjustment when the real estate market fell. That just sort of took me back. Then, of course, I got into insurance. I actually started out insurance very, very well. I was really, really on a roll. I actually used to write for a company by the name of Aviva. They're no longer around. I think they were bought out by somebody else. But I did so well. I was like, they had what they called a Century Club. It was only 3 people in the Century Club, and I was one of them. So I did very, very well out of the gate with insurance. I want to say my course, you have your ups and downs in the insurance industry. You have moments to where you have the, presidential year, right? To where, guess what? A lot of the times you're not able to purchase, well, you can purchase leads, but a lot of the airspace is bought up. So you're having to change the different kinds of leads. But I'm going to tell you, the biggest turn for me was 2020 during that pandemic. And everybody had to stay home. That was game changing. That was totally game changing. Because I'm not a Dow for dollars girl, right? I'm not that person that's just glued to this computer. I was like, oh my gosh, wait a minute, what are we going to do? That was different, right? And it was not easy. And I'm pretty sure, Leo, you can attest, during that time, everybody was stuck at home. And now you have people calling all the time. It was hard to get clients on the phone. Yeah, that was a huge adjustment for me. My business actually went down during that time, right? Because you had agents that quit. They did not want to, sell over the phone. And yeah, it was, but I came up out of it, right?
How did you come up out of it? That's the important part.
Yep. Let me tell you how I came up out of it. We worked our way through it. However, in the midst of working our way through it, I met this gentleman, and, we got to talking, and he had asked me, he said, Cordie, have you ever thought about getting on the business side of insurance? And I was like, well, what do you mean the business side? He said, have you ever thought about becoming a broker? Right? To where you actually work with other companies. You actually work with that broker. They're the broker for the company. Your job is to go out and land that deal, put a deal together for that broker who is in charge of that company. And guess what? You get that deal sealed for open enrollment. And so I was like, you know what? I've never thought about that. I would love to take a look at it. Of course, we got to talking about what does it look like financially, which was very different than what it looks like on the personal side, right? Because now you're talking about payroll deductions. And on that side, of course, you don't experience a lot of the chargebacks that you do on the personal side. So therefore, I was able to transition over to the business side of insurance, also able to have some of my agents come with me as well and actually work those accounts. So once again, when I think I'm going one direction, God always order my footsteps a total different direction. And it's truly been a blessing.
See, I see when I listen to your story right now is you're able to take a punch and you just get back up. You just have all different, you're very flexible in that sense. It seems like from the gate, because not too many people would recover the way you did, and you have. Let me ask you a question. How do you handle fear and self-doubt? Because I think that's what I see with entrepreneurs in any avenue, whether it's insurance, whether they're running their own mortgage brokerage, any entrepreneur I've ever spoken to, when they're starting out, the ones that don't make it, I feel like they fall into the trap of fear and self-doubt. How did you manage? Single mother, literally goes from millions to thousands, literally changed your lifestyle, became her own woman. All right. How do you handle that fear and definitely the self-doubt that comes along with it? Because you're still here, you're still standing.
Absolutely. I have to be honest, and this is just for everybody that's listening. Listen, as an entrepreneur, your mentors are going to be so important, right? Your mentors are going to be the ones that truly give you that self-development. My mentor, he would always say, Cordie, you got to stay fit to fight. You got to learn how to fight yourself up out of a wet paper bag. He was constantly talking to me. He was constantly, guys, I'm serious. Every morning, there would be different things in my text messages for me to listen to. He was very, very, he was very, very big on protect your psyche, protect your ear gates and what you hear, because once the brain hears it, it's going to process it, whether it's true or not. And just with that guidance consistently, day in, day out, a lot of personal development, self-development. I just developed that mindset regardless of how, even when I have my valley moments, guess what, Cordie, you can't give up. You've created now a lifestyle for yourself. Unfortunately, corporate America won't be able to pay you that, right? And so therefore, I'm not saying now I still don't get nervous, because I do, right? Because I'm human. I'm no different than anybody else. The difference is, though, I understand this is truly a journey for me. I feel like it was God given, because truly I feel like at this point, Leo, in my life, I'm operating in my purpose, right? It's not just something I'm doing for money or anything like that. I have made an impact, which of course, when you make an impact, you create income, right? And so it keeps me going. I tell my teammates all the time, my fire will never burn out for what I do, because I have so many people that are dependent on me, right? They're dependent on my yes. They're dependent on me to, Cordie, you stay in the game. And that's what I love about it. So I get nervous. I get scared. I got days where I want to quit, right? But once again, on those days, I just got to remember, Cordie, this was your journey, right? You were assigned this journey for a reason. Now, guess what? You have to complete the mission. And that's just how I operate day in, day out. Not saying, though, I don't get tired, because I do.
Okay. All right. All right. Man, hold on a second. Let me say hi to some of my viewers out there. Hey, what's going on, Marvin, Takira, Ezra? Thank you guys. Thank you for your support, Mr. Jones. What's going on? And I see Crystal. Thank you. That I'm gonna tell you, there's something that's strange. Half of my teammates, uh, part of the organization that I have, are more than half are female. So I know they're on here, and you're gonna create an impact today. So I can tell you that right now. You're gonna create an impact today. So I'm making sure that they're here. I'm glad that they are, actually. I have a question for you. I asked you, we were talking this weekend, and I just asked you to come on the podcast. You had no idea what I was gonna ask you, and you said sure, and I sent you what it was about, and I sent you the title, Unapologetic Entrepreneur, right? I'm curious, what does that mean to you, and how do you stay true to yourself, your vision, and when people doubt you, how do you stay to your core, like who you are regardless?
You know what, Leo, once again, for me, it's just me understanding my value, right? I know when I show up, I know I am going to create an impact on each and every person. Why? Because I do it on purpose. I want people to truly understand. I understand that there's a need for people to be successful. There's a need for people to create income. There's also a need for people to get the products and services that I offer. Leo, there is also a need for financial literacy, right? That is something that we are lacking in so bad. And so I do more than just sell a person. Guys, I'm going to tell you right now, people don't want to be sold. Nobody wants to be sold, right? They want to see your heart before you ask for their hand first, right? And so I'm very, very big on really sitting down, talking with my clients, just so they can understand, listen, I'm no different from you, right? However, I can help you. So I understand the value that I bring. I don't let anybody knock me off that rocker. I don't let anybody, devalue what I do. And that's regardless of what room I'm in. It does not even matter, right? And honestly, Leo, just like you said, just being unapologetic entrepreneur, because some people will, well, Cordie, I don't want to do that. That job is what you do is so risky. And I'm like, okay, and that's fine, right? But even with that, I still don't let them make me self-doubt and say, well, Cordie, you know what? Yeah, the last 3 months have been hard. Have you ever thought about just going online and doing something from home? I've never, it's never come across, it never even crossed my mind. I do want to say something to the ladies that are on here, because I heard you say that there are a lot of females on here. Ladies, I will tell you this. I'm super, super passionate about helping women in business, but I also just want to remind you this. You continue to keep going. And let me tell you why, because based on statistics, ladies, our lifestyle change, right, financially, when there's a divorce, when there's a death of our spouse. Right now, 87% of women who are married, if any of those things happen, guess what, guys? They automatically, their lifestyle and their financial status decreases, right? I tell any woman, I know a lot of women love, oh, we want this guy who's rich, and that's great. But listen, if you focus on being the rich wife, right? I wish I would have been focused on that way back then. But if you focus on being the rich wife, your life will never change, right? It doesn't matter if a divorce happens, a death happens, or anything like that. Hey, guess what? You now have created a lifestyle for yourself. So, Leo, I just wanted to say that to your female audience.
All right, no problem. Thank you. I'm sure they appreciate it. Oh man, let me ask you. Let me ask you this: what mindset shifts were necessary for you to grow personally and professionally? Because one thing about you is I think you have to be extremely close to Miss Cordie Moore to know her personal life, because it's you share some things on Facebook. You're not that but it's not, everything's not there. I mean, I know because like I said, we've known each other so long that in passing we've spoken about family and all that. But so in the personal, I can sort of see the answer, but I'm wondering what helped you grow personally and professionally. What is necessary for you to go through?
Personally, it was just really understanding that I did not want to depend on anybody. I knew what that felt like. I also know what it felt like when it was taken away, right? And so therefore, that wasn't something that somebody just told me about. I actually experienced it for myself. And it was not comfortable. It was not comfortable. And I remember the words of my granddad, who has always said, Cordie, hey, first time a mistake. Second time, hey, now you just being a fool, right? And so I'm like, so guess what? I got to make sure I hold myself accountable. So personally, that's what really, really got my mindset to where I was just, Cordie, you got to get it done, right? But also, Lee, I will definitely tell you this. My ex, he's a big part of my success too. He's a big part of personally why I did develop the way I did, because ever since the age of 15, he had always told me, Cordie, I'm gonna make it to the NFL. And so I had watched him, regardless of pool parties and all the things that you do in high school, he would actually say no, right? And so I watched somebody who was from a low income family stay so true to his dream and did not budge regardless of what was going on around him or anything like that. He still kept going. And so that was a lot of my, just remembering that time. And then what helped me professionally, I go back to one of his good teammates. They at the time they were playing for two different teams. And I would never forget, he called and he told him, he said, listen, you are a defensive back. He said, I'm going to send you this video. And it was a video of a cheetah chasing its prey. And he said, you watch this video every single day. because literally that's who you are when you get on that field. And so when I became an entrepreneur, I had watched that video, guys, so much. When I became an entrepreneur, I actually have a love for lions, right? I love lions. I love their pride. I love how they operate. Okay. I love how they operate. And so, guys, you know what? I remembered that video. And literally, even to this day, especially when my children were young, I was like, Cordie, your alter ego is a lioness. And every day, guess what? You got to get up. You got to go out there. You got to go hunt, right? You got to kill it. You got to come home and clean it. And then you got to cook it. And so I remembered that. And I remember watching that all the time with him. And you know what? I'm like, wow, when I look back on once again my ordained footsteps, it's like everything was there because Leo, I had to reach back in my past and just learn from that because it still propels me to this day, even as a entrepreneur.
All right. Oh man. Woo! Got me inspired. I feel like I want to be an entrepreneur. Oh, wait, I am. Oh man. Let me ask you, how far do you feel you've come, like on a scale 1 to 10, from when you started to now? And what would that be like? What number would that be and why? Because most people feel like they're still at the beginning.
You know what? Because I'm definitely not a 10 because I'm not where I want to be, right? There's so many things I still want to achieve. Honestly, I would say about a 7 because I've had some great times in life. I've been able to do some amazing things, but I still want to get my yacht. I still have not been able to get that yet. However, I will get that. So there are still some things that I want to do, right? There's still some things that I want to help my children do. Because once again, they're watching, even though they're grown now and they have their own, businesses as well. So there's still some people that I want to impact. And I know that for a fact, especially when I look at, just where we are, the state of the economy, so many people. And I can and of course, outside of the insurance piece, when I go back to the real estate piece, because Leo, I still hold a license there. So many people right now are hurting financially as it relates to credit, right? So I know that I can help so many people down that road. I want to help more and more people become homeowners. We got to understand how do you close that wealth gap, right? Guys, how do you close that 1% wealth gap? It's only through ownership. And that's going to be through home ownership and business ownership, right? And so we got to understand how powerful it is to be a homeowner and to truly, truly start to create that legacy. So I'm definitely not at a 10. I just truly feel like I have so much work to do.
The work is never done. Never done. You always feel like you got so much more. When you feel you're almost done, you got so much more to cover. When you start looking up, the goals just get bigger. What is a piece of advice you would tell your younger self?
Oh wow, man. Let's see. It's a whole lot I would tell my younger self. Cordie, why did you spend so much money? Why did why, because Leo, we were doing some crazy stuff. I'm serious. My son, I'll never forget, was 3 years old, and we're getting custom made clothes for a 3-year-old, right? So why didn't you really understand the power and leverage of real estate, right? We were doing what we've always been taught, and that was just to buy a home, and then once you move, you sell it. Really not having no knowledge on how to truly create leverage and wealth with the properties that we actually owned. We just didn't know. So I would definitely say, looking back on it now, I would have definitely told my younger self, invest in real estate. Make sure you're saving more than you're spending. I would have told myself, you guys don't need all those cars, right? Because they actually depreciate the minute you drive them off the lot. It's so many things I would have told Cordie back then. And one of the most important things I would have told myself is that, Cordie, you know what? You're valuable, right? You are an amazing person. Because for a long time, Leo, once again, living in the shadows of somebody who's so powerful, right? Not only are they rich, they're rich and famous. You lose who you are. You really lose who you are. So I would have told Cordie back then, you still matter, right? Because people did not know how I was feeling. So nobody ever told me that. Yeah. So yeah, it's a whole lot I could look back on and say.
You're good right there. You still matter. I think that covers everything. With everything you say, you got to remember who you are, because we get lost even in the business. You can get lost in the business 100%. You just get lost oriented on your goals that you forget that you actually have a life and you're a person. It really can take over your life. So that right there was a powerful statement. You still matter. If there's one piece of advice that you could tell both male and female out there about entrepreneurship, because you have different streams of income, you have your hands in different fields, right? What's one piece of advice that can go across all boards that you would give people that are listening to you right now and they're going to watch this playback? What's one piece of advice you would?
Absolutely. One piece of advice I would definitely tell you guys, you will hear it all the time. Have several different streams of income. And guys, that is okay. However, let me tell you this. Think about where streams of water come from, right? It comes from one overflowing river. Guys, it's the same thing in business. Don't ever go into business and say, hey, I'm getting ready to do all these different things. Because I promise you, you will not make any money in nothing. I promise you won't. So my best advice is to create that one overflowing stream of income, right? Once you create that stream of income, now you are able to look at other opportunities. Think about when Beyonce started, right? She was just a singer. Now she's able to do House of Darion. She's able to have a perfume line and all these different things. Guys, it is so true in business. You got to have that one overflowing river, master something, become an expert in one thing, and then create other streams.
Well said. That was powerful. Ooh. Oh man, let me see. Go ahead. That was good. I'm curious. What's next for you?
Oh wow! I want to say retirement, but then it's not going to really be retirement for me, because I truly love what I do. Right? I'm excited about getting remarried. Definitely excited about that. So that is something that's next. Definitely want to build my dream home. So guys, listen, this is my thing. I lived in Florida for a long time. Had a house, pool and all that great stuff. But my next thing, I want to get a beautiful condo overlooking the water. Right. So that's another thing that's on my bucket list. But Leo, as far as, I'm just going to continue to, just do what I do. Like I said, I would love to say retirement. Maybe we would be saying that if we were on jobs. But I don't think I'll ever retire from doing this. I honestly don't.
There's no such thing as retirement. You'll find something to do. I don't feel that entrepreneurs ever just put it down. They get involved in something. Even if it's in the investment side where they just investing in other people, there's no way you sit still. You just don't. I don't think that's in your spirit, to be quite honest. And let me see if there's any questions out there. Anybody got any questions? Because I got a few more, but I want to make sure that we have gone up. Let's see if we have any questions. Oh, you got people, a lot of good comments here. You're really touching the ladies. You're speaking to the ladies.
Love it.
Yeah, and you know what? Since I'm on that topic, you had this whole agency where, what was the name of it? Or what's the name of it? You build your brand on just hiring women.
Yeah.
Like I remember when we teamed up, I think there was one guy. It was all women.
Everybody else women. You know what? It's actually females in finances.
There you go.
Once again, it was just more so I always tell people, listen, if I can take a $40 million fall from grace and get back up, guess what? You can too. And I know a lot of times as women, when things do happen, we're left with the kids, we're left with, everything, rides on us. But guess what, guys, ladies, we can still do it. I promise you, everything will open up for you, but you got to just have that mentality that, hey, regardless of however it seems, I'm going to move forward. But yeah, it was females in finances.
That's what it was. I remember when we teamed up, I was like, who are these people? I was like, one guy came through. I was like, okay, got it. So where can people find you, listen to you? Go ahead. There's your moment to plug yourself. Let people, because I know there's a lot. Listen, I'm still inspired by you. Love working with you. Love talking to you. We still have so much to catch up on. I know there's other viewers right now that would love to see and hear your story. Where can people find you?
Absolutely. Well, I am on Facebook. It's Cordie Moore. It's Cordie. Last name is Moore, Moore. I also have a private Facebook page. Well, no, it's not really private no more. But it's Females in Finances. Actually, Leo, we've invited guys into the group, right? Because they want to come in and learn. And so, I'm like, hey, and so it works out great. I'm also on LinkedIn. I don't really do a whole lot on LinkedIn. I probably need to get more active on LinkedIn. I am on Instagram as well. Still, it's the Cordie Moore on Instagram. But yeah, I would love, for us to connect. Me and Leo will be doing some things together. You guys, if Leo, if you are a part of his agency, let me tell you something. You are being led by an amazing leader, a selfless leader. And I can honestly say that to him because I'm very big on who I partner with. I'm very big on who I connect with. And if he did not have the attributes, I promise you we wouldn't have never worked. So I can tell you, just from working with him, this is somebody that has a deep down burning desire to win. He's very passionate about what he does. He takes time, with his teammates. So you guys are being led by an amazing leader. So Leo, I just want to say thank you. And I want to tell you this publicly, because so many times, we don't give each other, what, I'm proud of you, right? We don't hear that a lot from each other, but I do just want to say thank you so much.
Wow, thank you. I didn't expect that. Thanks. That means a lot. It means a lot because you trusted me with your whole squad that you brought in, and you came in and we talked, and I never heard those words. And I swear, guys, I didn't even know that was coming out. So thank you. I don't want to get emotional live, but I appreciate you for that. Oh my God, that was that was a lot there. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Cordie Moore, I want to make sure that I say thank you. And I am going to have you here next month because next month is her story month. And as a woman, we're going to have to touch some of these stories on women empowerment. I really do believe in that. Raised by a single woman. Hey, I know you guys go through the struggle. So we're going to have different questions and a whole different series of topics. But I am going to invite you next month. So be prepared to get that call. Okay.
Absolutely. I appreciate you, Leo. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for listening to me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been an honor, a privilege. I will see you guys on the next one on the Unapologetic Entrepreneur every Friday, 5:00. See you next one. Thank you very much for your participation and for just coming and support.